eMarketer has been in existence since about 1996. It depends on when you call start. But we are the authority in the marketplace for everything that's happening digitally, where consumers are spending their time and their money, and importantly, how marketers are trying to reach those consumers. So we're all about the data, the best practices, and the insights that marketers need to reach consumers in an always-on, mobile, fragmented, distracted, multitasking world.
So you survived the dot-com crash, and you're...
Only just barely. The Great Recession of 2008 certainly was more widespread, deeper, longer, but had less effect on us than did the dot-com bust, because the dot-com bust, the focus of it was this internet thing, went down into the tubes. And so calling people after that, and then particularly after September 11th, saying, hey, we've got some great information about the internet. And they're like, no, thank you. We already saw that train wreck. We're not interested. Whereas with the Great Recession, as bad as it was, people were already well on the digital train. The digital train had, left the tracks. It was just speeding up. And in fact, what's really great for us is that digital is being infused in every part of an organization. Almost, from supply chain to product to marketing, packaging. The internet or digital or mobile play an increasing role, and we're the folks providing that authoritative information on, what information you need to make better, faster decisions.
Cool. So fast forward to the sale, what that means and where it's going from here.
I mean, after some 20-odd years of running a very profitable and exciting growing business, you get to a certain point or a certain level where you realize if you want to take it to the next level, particularly internationally. We're very well known in the US, Canada, the UK, where we also have an office. But when you're looking at the entire global world, and you're looking at the rest of Western Europe, and you're looking at Asia in particular, it really helps to have a partner that is already there and has the resources and the wherewithal to kind of help us from a content coverage standpoint, and probably even more importantly from a sales perspective, getting our feet on the ground and connected in with companies all around the world. And so the Axel Springer deal for us was very much about global expansion, and the fact that they have a number of stakes in companies or acquisitions of other companies where there might be synergies.
Cool. And what does it mean for them here in the U.S., having you as a partner? They've done other acquisitions?
Yes. There were three principal reasons that Axel Springer selected eMarketer, and they were the top of our list too when it came to selecting who we would want to do business with. Number one, Axel Springer is very strong in Western Europe, and particularly Germany, but they wanted to make much more inroads into the US, which of course is a huge market, and we are very big and very well known in the US, so check there. Number two, they are trying to increase their portion of revenues and profits that are derived from digital, and that's another strong suit for us. And third, they're looking to diversify revenue streams. Axel Springer is a very large media publishing company. They make a lot of money on classifieds and other advertising supported kind of properties. And while 20% of eMarketer's business comes from advertising, we have a very strong and growing advertising business model. We are 80% of our revenues come from people who pay for our information. So it's a subscription-based service. And we've been charging for our information right back in the early days, 96, 97, 98. I think it was May of 98 that I wrote the first eMarketer report, which pales in comparison to the reports that we write today. They're much pithier and I think have a lot better content. But the basic elements of an eMarketer report back 20 years ago of having eMarketer forecasts, having comparative estimates so you can see what everybody else is saying transparently, and having deep and critical analysis of all of the third-party data out there. that was true back then, and it's still true today. And that's another thing I think that attracted Axel Springer to us, is that they are really big on content, and they like content players that have figured out new ways to approach content, both from the content itself and how we analyze and make sense of the information out there, and just as importantly, how do we display that information? And so a lot of the innovation that we're looking at now is, you know, when you think of the 1,300 plus forecasts that eMarketer puts out every year, how can you make those forecasts readily available to business people who are trying to put their fingers on, I just need, you know, Facebook user growth in China, or in Taiwan, or wherever it is, and you can go into what we call numbers, and you can just pick or select which metrics that you're looking for, and a chart will build before your eyes. So we're as much about the content and the coverage and the quality of that as we are about the speed and efficiency required to get the information you need and get out and move on with your job. And that's a big part of my role as the Chief Innovation Officer, is to keep driving the product forward to make sure that we're delivering and displaying information in new and exciting and creative ways.